I don't want to be depressed. God.
It's your birthday. You definitely don't deserve to be depressed on your
I don't
birthday.
want to be depressed.
No.
I also like that I told you I didn't want to talk about that, but you brought it up twice now. Thank you.
On the air?
Yes, you did.
I think that was the only time I brought it up.
That's the second time.
Really? Mm-hmm. When else did I bring it up?
You did it earlier, Joe. Pull up the tape.
Pablo, pull up the tape. I don't believe I did.
We were talking about the sheriff's department. You did. We were talking about the sheriff's department, and they got rid of the scanners for the guards going into the jails. Mm-hmm. We had 12 overdoses, and we think fentanyl, at the Estrella jail. That's the women's prison.
Yep.
Or women's jail, I should say. There's a difference. One of those overdoses turned fatal, and they claim that they found contraband in a body cavity. So, Jerry Sheridan said, well, this obviously got smuggled in some other way. It certainly wasn't our guards that did it.
Yeah, you're going to teach me now all the other devious ways that drugs can turn up in a prison.
Yeah, everybody knows this.
I can think of a few.
If you were in prison, Joe,
okay,
or in jail, jail,
yeah.
It's different story.
Yeah,
jail is county. Prison is real.
Okay.
Okay.
So what? Jail doesn't count?
No, jail's different. Pablo, back me up on this. Jail is. Don't you shake? No. Jail is different than prison.
You won't back you up.
Incarceration is incarceration.
Nah, jail is different.
Jail's different.
Wow.
Incarceration.
Jail is more transient. You got more comings and goings.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be incarcerated.
Think of it like...
There is a difference between jail and prison.
Right. That's like, Joe, there's a difference between a hotel and an apartment. Yes?
Of course.
Think of prison like an apartment, and a hotel, short-term stays. Okay?
Sure.
Jail, short-term stays.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yeah.
So, if you were in jail, say, Joe, I just arrested you.
Yep.
Now, you're going to say, mistaken identity. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, copper. I didn't do it.
That's right.
That's right. But I say, nah, we're pretty sure. We found a guy matching your description. They said it looks like Telly Savalas with a goatee. And
I've
you're
heard
the only guy.
There's Huizenga impersonators around.
Lots of them.
There's a few. Not kidding. There's people who say, I saw somebody just like you.
Yeah.
Here before.
So, how would you try to get drugs into the jail?
A couple that I thought of. There could be contracted employees of the prison system, whether that be, who's bringing in the mail, who's bringing in the food supplies, the things like that. Not the people who work there necessarily, but people who come and go all the time.
So you got delivery people.
Yeah. Lawyers.
Oh, yeah, lawyers.
You got to suspect lawyers. You think that fancy JD means that they're not up to anything fishy?
I saw Better Call Saul.
Exactly.
I know how it goes.
The inmates themselves, too.
Oh, which is what Jerry Sheridan is saying. Sheriff Sheridan is saying about
I think that's the
this.
most likely.
Yeah, the first time. But...
What do you mean the first time?
The first time they get the drugs.
Yes.
How do I phrase this? There's only so many shirts you can pack in a suitcase.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
It's not like you plant the drugs and you grow more drugs.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So, once your suitcase is full...
I see.
You understand?
I do.
Then all of a sudden you're out of shirts. And if you have been selling your T-shirts to other people and your suitcase is now out of T-shirts, you got to figure out another way to get the T-shirts in.
Well, you watch those shows that are on late at night and in the middle of the day. How else do they get the drugs in there?
I'm glad you asked. The easy way, of course, is to pay the guards.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, we're thinking about this from a guy's standpoint. But do you remember there were a couple of prison escapes, one in New York and one, I think it was in Alabama. And in both cases, it was a female prison guard who fell for the inmate. And the inmate, of course, was using them. Women folk do that.
Yeah.
But think about a women's prison. If you have a male guard, they're susceptible. Dudes are dumb. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Dudes are dumb.
Yeah.
And so I think that if you could use your cunning wiles, you could probably bring a guy on board. Also, just the old-fashioned, I'm going to pay you some cashola. Listen, I'll make it worth your while because those drugs are coming from somewhere. It's not like the prison. It's not like the jail guard or whatever is growing them. The other thing, too, is you can actually threaten the guard or their families if you really want to get drugs in the prison. And if you're running something that is in a prison or in a jail, now we're only talking about the jail here, but just generally speaking, This is one of those situations where we have seen some pretty ruthless things happen in the drug world. We know that ruthless things occur, right? Mm-hmm. It would not be beyond the pale for someone to say, guard Huizinga, we need this to get into inmate 493062. And you go, I'm not doing that. And they go,
oh yes,
not,
you are.
Oh, you're not? That's interesting because we have your parents here. And we think you are going to deliver that. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one way to get it in there.
So I visited somebody down in Florence a few times. What about the guests, too? The visitors?
Yeah, certainly.
Now, which
is why they say no touching.
So anytime they would let you hug at the very end of a visit, but it was very brief too. It was like 3 seconds, quick hug.
Did they watch you while you were hugging?
So I would say I felt like that area was understaffed in general. Maybe there were 2 guards total for a room of, picture a bingo hall, maybe 100, 150 people.
Wow.
But this was also minimum security. I didn't talk with any of the other inmates to know what they were in there for.
But you certainly could have slid something in somebody's waistband.
They would make sure you didn't have your wallet, your keys, your cell phone, your things like that.
Yeah.
But again, when we talk about the keystering of it all, I was not getting a full cavity search or anything like
about that. But I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, I just think it's important to point out.
Sometimes they get it in with the mail. Now, the mail is supposed to be searched. But all it takes is for, a quick, easy screw up. And the mail can get through. And if you've got stuff in the mail, that's one way that can get in there and then be distributed. I would say you've got trustees on work detail, right? So you may have some inmates who are leaving the walls of the jail or the prison, and they are out and about in the street. And if they know where they're going, there could be a package pre-delivered, right? And they go, hey, we're going to be doing some side-of-the-road garbage cleanup. And if somebody learns the schedule, then they can have an affiliate. Exactly. And then speaking of dropping, that would be another way. You could do an airdrop, drones over the top of the walls.
Oh, we've seen video of that.
Throwing it, or I always love to see a catapult, maybe a nice old-fashioned trebuchet pull up outside and be flung over the walls of the jail or prison. It's kind of the counterlever catapult. From the medieval times.
All right.
Another way to get it in, actually, some people just say throwing it over the walls is one way to do it. So just some ways that they may be sneaking things in there.
Now, if you throw it over the wall, wouldn't a guard see that too, most likely?
Well, I think most likely, yeah, but it depends on how well you know the schedule and the areas of the jail.
But I'm saying, wouldn't a guard on the inside be like, what's that just flew into the yard?
It all depends on what the system is that they've got worked out. The inmates are cunning.
And like I said to you, I was not shocked, but I was surprised how few guards there were on the inside.
Yeah.
It was a room of 80, 100 people, and at times 1 guard present.
Yeah.
It's like if all of these inmates really wanted to cause a problem,
they could.
What is 1 guard going to do against 100 plus?
They're going to radio it in
inmates.
and lock doors. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.